All right, so diving in today, we're going to be looking at Psalm 45
Okay.
from the New Living Translation. And it's described as like a love song about the king, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that even mean? That's what we're going to try to figure out in this deep dive.
It's a pretty interesting description, right, when you think about it. A love song, but about a king. Not necessarily to a king.
Yeah, exactly.
So it already kind of piques your curiosity, I think.
Totally, yeah. So we're going to take a look at that. And, this is a psalm. It's poetry.
Right.
But it's also a song. It actually says in the heading, a love song to be sung to the tune lilies.
Yeah, and that right there, I mean, how interesting is that? Like, we don't have the tune lilies. We don't know what that sounded like.
Right.
But it makes you think about, like, the musicality of these psalms.
Totally, yeah.
That they weren't just, words on a page, but they were meant to be sung. They were meant to be experienced, I think, in a very different way.
Mm. Yeah. And there's this word, maskil, in the heading as well, which, scholars kind of debate about what that means exactly. But it seems like it could be a literary or musical term.
Yeah.
Maybe something that gives us some clues about the structure or the purpose of this song.
Yeah, it's like a little mystery,
Yeah.
a little puzzle for us to kind of try and figure out.
Totally. Okay, so like right off the bat, the first line of this psalm kind of sucks you in.
Totally.
It says, "Beautiful words stir my heart. I will recite a lovely poem about the king, for my tongue is like the pen of a skillful poet."
It's so evocative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you can almost hear the passion in the voice of whoever's speaking this.
Totally, yeah. And it also sets this expectation, right? Like we're about to hear something really beautiful and skillful.
Definitely.
So, let's talk about this king. What are the key things that this psalm is highlighting about him?
Well, right away, we get this emphasis on his appearance. It says, "You are the most handsome of all." And then it goes on to talk about his speech, right? "Gracious words stream from your lips." So we're getting this picture of somebody who's not only like physically attractive, but also very eloquent, very charming.
Yeah.
And that would have been incredibly important for a leader in those times, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
To be able to command attention with both their presence and their words.
Totally. And then, kind of on top of all that, we have this powerful statement, "God himself has blessed you forever."
Right. Like, it's not just, human admiration.
Yep.
This king has, like, divine favor, which, again, in that time period was absolutely essential for a ruler to be seen as legitimate.
Totally, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so then the tone kind of shifts a little bit. We get this like warrior imagery coming in. It says, "Put on your sword, O mighty warrior. You are so glorious, so majestic." Like, we're not just talking about a handsome, eloquent king anymore. This is a king who's ready for battle.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting, right? Because it's not just like brute force. It's still this very like majestic, glorious kind of strength.
Right.
It's almost like a divinely ordained warrior. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then it goes on to describe his mission.
Yeah.
It says, "In your majesty, ride out to victory, defending truth, humility, and justice." Like, that's a pretty powerful mission statement.
It is, and it also like really connects his military might to this moral code.
Right.
He's not just fighting for power, he's fighting for these higher values.
Yeah, totally. And then, it's not just about like ideals. We actually see the impact of his actions.
Yeah.
It says, "Your arrows are sharp, piercing your enemies' hearts. The nations fall beneath your feet." Like, very vivid imagery there.
Oh, absolutely. You can almost like picture it, this decisive ruler who's conquering his enemies and establishing his dominion.
Yeah. Totally. Okay, so we've got this like ideal of a king, right? Handsome, eloquent, divinely blessed, and a just warrior. Like, that's a lot to live up to.
It is. It's setting the bar pretty high.
Yeah. So how is his actual rule described? Like, how does he actually, govern?
Well, first of all, his reign is depicted as like enduring. It says, "Your throne, O God, endures forever and ever."
Okay.
And there's actually an alternate reading of that line that says, "Your divine throne."
Interesting.
which, even further emphasizes that this king's authority comes from God. It's not just a human thing.
Right, right. And it's not just about, like, lasting forever. It's also about being fair, right?
Exactly.
It says, you rule with the scepter of justice. You love justice and hate evil. Like, that scepter, that's a symbol of his role in upholding the law, in maintaining order.
Yeah, it's not just about power. It's about using that power responsibly for the good of the people.
Yeah, yeah. And that seems to bring him great joy, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like it says, therefore God, your God, has anointed you, pouring out the oil of joy on you more than on anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that anointing, that's a really significant thing. It's like this divine approval, this blessing that's being bestowed upon him, specifically because of his righteous rule.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay, so, this psalm is also full of these, like, wonderful sensory details
Yeah.
about the king's court. What are some of the things that stand out to you?
Well, right away, you get this sense of opulence, right? It says, myrrh, aloes, and cassia perfume your robes.
Okay.
I mean, you can almost smell it, right? This rich, exotic fragrance. It just immediately transports you to this world of luxury.
Yeah.
And then we have ivory palaces.
Okay.
Filled with music, with the music of strings. So you're getting this atmosphere of, like, grandeur, refinement.
Totally, yeah.
Like, everything about this king's surroundings is meant to reflect his power and his status.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And it's not just, like, beautiful objects. He's surrounded by, like, other figures of nobility, too.
Yeah. Right. It says, king's daughters are among your noble women.
Okay.
So he's clearly at the center of this network of powerful people.
Totally. Yeah. And then, of course, there's the queen.
Right. At your right side stands the queen, wearing jewelry of finest gold from Ophir. And that's a really significant detail.
Yeah.
I mean, gold in that time, it wasn't just about, like, being pretty. It represented wealth. It represented power.
Right.
And the fact that the queen is wearing it and she's standing at the king's right hand, it really underscores her importance. She's not just some, decorative figure. She's a powerful figure in her own right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there's this section where advice is given to the royal daughter, the bride.
Right.
What's the essence of that counsel?
Well, it's basically telling her to embrace her new role fully. It says, listen to me, O royal daughter. Take to heart what I say. Forget your people and your family far away, for your royal husband delights in your beauty. Honor him, for he is your Lord. So it's really emphasizing this idea of loyalty, of honor within a royal marriage.
Yeah.
It's a huge transition for her, right? She's leaving behind her old life, her old allegiances, and taking on this new identity as the queen.
Yeah, totally. And her arrival seems to be a big cause for celebration.
Absolutely.
It says, the bride, a princess, looks glorious in her golden gown.
Yeah.
And then, we get this description of the procession. It says, what a joyful and enthusiastic procession as they enter the king's palace.
It's like a public display of joy, this coming together of these two powerful figures and the beginning of, hopefully a prosperous reign.
Right, right. Okay, so finally, the psalm looks ahead to the future. What's the lasting impact that's envisioned for this king?
Well, the focus is really on the continuation of his dynasty, his legacy.
Yeah.
It says, your sons will become kings like their father. You will make them rulers over many lands. So it's not just about his own reign. It's about ensuring that his line continues.
Right.
That his values, his way of ruling will be passed down through generations.
Right.
And then the psalm ends with this really powerful statement about his enduring fame. It says, I will bring honor to your name in every generation. Therefore, the nations will praise you forever and ever.
Yeah. So through this deep dive into Psalm 45, we've encountered this portrait of, like, an ideal king, right? Powerful, just, wealthy. His reign is, like, eternal. And we've also seen the important role of the queen, the focus on a lasting lineage.
Yeah, it's really a fascinating glimpse into, like, the values and aspirations of a very different time.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really interesting to think about is how this ancient love song might have functioned in its original setting.
Yeah.
What did it communicate about the ideal ruler? What did it say about power, about justice, about relationships? Like, thinking about those questions can really offer us a deeper understanding, I think, of a world that's very different from our own.
Yeah, totally. It's amazing how, like, these ancient texts can still speak to us today,
They really can.
and make us think about, like, the things that are important to us, the things that we value.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive. It's been really interesting.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.